Bear, growing up, you were determined to follow your dreams. From an early age, Bear could turn his hand to anything.
Bear was one of those annoying people who was brilliant at everything. You give him a tennis racket, you could play tennis. You give him a paintbrush, you could paint.
But it was climbing with his father that Bear loved most.
From about 7 or 8, they used to go off in the Isle of Wight, and there was this cliff, which wasn't very high, but anything that Bear could climb, he would climb. He used to have a picture on his bedroom wall of Mount Everest. He always had this dream, which he discussed with Dad, that he always wanted to climb Mount Everest.
That dream stayed with Bear through the years. But before he could make it reality, disaster struck while on leave from the SAS in a parachute accident.
He was doing something in South Africa. The chute failed, and he hit the ground. I remember going to see him down at his parents' house when he was in bed with a broken back. And he just lay there for a long time. It was just really awful.
His SAS career was in tatters.
The doctors told him he wasn't going to be able to walk again. He was bedridden for several weeks, if not months.
But Bear had a plan.
The thing that kept his mind moving and his spirits moving was this picture of Everest and the words of his father that, you know, what are you going to do?
Only 18 months after his accident, Bear took on the highest peak on Earth.
When he first set off, I remember his dad thinking it was a great idea, and his mum, I suppose, as normal, thinking it was an absolutely mad idea. He had a sat phone, and I remember speaking to him. It was quite weird. He was setting off for the final up.
We're already in what they call the death zone, which doesn't exactly inspire one with confidence.
He was saying, "Can you pray for me? I'm just about to set off up this mountain."
Led by experienced Sherpas, it would take 90 days to get to the summit.
There's all sorts of your body which, if you do get to a certain height before you die, it'll go wrong, possibly cause you a stroke or an embolism.
On the 26th of May 1998, 23-year-old Bear became one of the youngest people ever to reach the summit of Mount Everest.
Fantastic. I'm absolutely delighted, Neil. Are the three of you there, over?
He rang us from the top of the mountain when he actually reached the top, and the relief when that happened.
I remember seeing he was on the front page of quite a few newspapers and sitting at the bus stop going, oh my gosh, that's so weird. This is this guy I've just started going out with, and he's on the front there, youngest Brit to climb Everest.
Bear had achieved the lifetime ambition he and his dad had dreamt of. But 3 years after Bear climbed Everest, his father suddenly died of a heart attack.
When his dad passed away, it was just like a train crash, I think, in his chest. It was really unexpected.
It was a huge shock. He withdrew into himself quite a lot and went off into quiet places to grieve on his own. He found it quite difficult to share, I think, his grief.
They were so close, him and his father, really close. Bear's father called him Tiny, and Bear calls our eldest son Tiny as well.
He was a real fun-loving guy, gave Bear cuddles, and that kind of soft side of Bear, I think, was really instilled in him.
His father absolutely adored him, and his father was a huge support to him. It was just absolutely devastating.
How did you hear that your dad had died?
God, it's amazing watching that. That's lovely old stuff. I was with Shara. We lived on a boat on the Thames. We still do. And a policeman came, knocked at the door, and oh dear, gosh. Yeah. So.
You know, it's funny, people always say to me, oh, you know, you make people cry on the show. And I always say it would be extraordinary to me if people didn't get emotional at precise moments like this. You know, this was a father that you absolutely worshipped and loved, and he did you. And to see those pictures, it must be emotional. I don't think there's anything surprising about you reacting like this.
Yeah, no, it's You know, I think my sister's right. You kind of definitely bottle stuff and put lid on it. And actually, I haven't seen a lot of that footage.
What kind of man was he?
Let's just grab 1 minute.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know why, sorry. Sorry.
Everyone will understand. Take as long as you like.
Don't worry, we're going to come back hitting after this. It's going to be good. OK, thank you. Yeah, just, you know, being this policeman saying this is what's happened. And just a shock, because he'd had a pacemaker fitted a few days before. And I remember going to the hospital, and I'd never seen my dad scared. And I just remember seeing his lower lip wobbling. And I said, I'll come into the operation with you. And he said, the doctors won't let you. And it's the only time I actually showed my sort of SAS card and pulled it and said I need to be in on that operation. And, you know, it all went good. And we came out, and he was so grateful I was there. And I thought, great. And I went off home. And 2 days later, you know, he was at home recovering, and he was in bed, and bam, you know. It's a while ago now, it's crazy, but it's still very raw.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I mean, do you feel surprised that you've reacted the way you have?
Yeah, it's just very raw. I think it's raw. The one that killed me is seeing him with me, you know, in the little boat and stuff, because I do that with my 3 boys. And it's funny because they look so like him, and so like I did at that age. And it's exactly what I do with them, and I just know he'd love that with them.
What were the values, do you think, that he instilled in you?
He just really encouraged me to love something, you know, and when he saw that I loved to climb, to do that with him, he really encouraged that. It's why that Everest dream became such a dream for us together. He got me a poster of it, and I'd go, you know, one day I'm going to climb this mountain. It was a real shared dream.
Of all the things that you've achieved in your life, what do you think he would have been the proudest of?
Our boys, and the fact that I'm still married to Shara. Genuinely, you know, I think the other stuff is so transient, really. You know, people go, oh, you climbed to the top of this, you serve with that, and you're always much more interested in things like the SAS and Everest than I am, to be honest. You know, it's part of my history. I'm super proud of it. I'm proud of the relationships, but the pride in my life isn't that stuff. It really isn't. You know, the pride is my family. Shara's gone. Come on, bro. Bloody hell, get a grip, man.